Hey guys, Robin MacFarlane. You know, those of you that have been following my work for a while hear me talk a lot about balancing your training. And certainly I teach a lot about obedience and how to interrupt problems and keep your dog's attention and that kind of thing. But you also hear me talk a lot about you have to give your dog something to do, both physically and mentally. So I want to show you one of my favorite things. I personally love teaching little tricks to my dog. There's no real big value to it other than a huge amount of mental stimulation and some of it physical ability as well. So I can do 2 for 1, mental stimulation and exercise at the same time. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to work with my little shelter dog. I got him from a shelter and adopted him a couple years ago. He is a really active little guy. But I want to show you one of the things we've been working on. So let's get started. So what I have here is a little target pole, and I've been teaching him to go out and around this thing. So he goes around, he comes back to me. I have a pocket full of treats, and I'm going to use those most of the time. I also have a little tug toy in this pocket, so sometimes I can reward him with the toy. Remember, the difference between using the treats versus the toy is that treats are faster. You can get more repetitions done quickly versus the toy, I have to give him time to play with it. But you can use either one. And I'd say this guy is ready to work. Okay, so let me show you how we get started. Come here, buddy. I like to start with him on my left side, and I'm just going to hold a treat in each hand, and I'm going to lure him to come around it, and I'm going to pay him once he gets around. So I'm going to take this one to lure, pay with this one. Good boy. Bring him back around to the left, lure, pay. Again, lure, and pay. Now, he knows this part, but I want to show this step by step. So as we're doing that, the goal is get the dog moving smoothly, or what we call fluency. Get some fluency of behavior and then name the behavior. So when I'm actually getting started, I would not have verbalized all of that. That's obviously for your benefit. I would have done it silently, so it would look and sound like this. Here. And once I get some fluency, then I'm going to name this behavior. Come here. Around. Around. And I've actually taken the treat out of the left hand and I'm just paying with the right. But my left hand is leading him to that behavior. So he's starting to read the body language. Here we go, bud. Around. If you notice, I also have my left leg slightly in front. That's creating a little bit of a shield so he doesn't cut through to get that treat, okay? So that's just a strategy to kind of help him get it right. Here we go. Yeah, you know this, don't you? Around. Good. Around. Honestly, that would probably be day 1. Or that would be session 1. You might do that session 3 times a day, maybe 10 repetitions. The thing you want to do when you're teaching something new is don't exhaust your dog's desire to keep playing the game. If they want to quit before you do, you're not going to end on a good note. You want the dog wanting more. So that would be your first session, and you would do that until the dog was getting the hang of it. Here we go. So here's what I mean by getting the hang of it. I haven't, you can see, he's offering the behavior. I haven't stepped back though, I'm still at this close proximity. The dog gets it. Come here. Once they're offering the behavior like that, you know you can start stepping back. But let me just show you one more. Ready? Around. Good. Now, I'm going to step back. Here we go. And this is where you don't get greedy, guys. If you noticed, I didn't even really double my distance. I maybe added, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches there. Come here. Around. Good. And again, exactly the same hand gestures. I'm leading with the left, paying with the right. Come here. Around. Good boy. if you are a person that trains with verbal markers, and I'm not going to explain that in this quick short video, but you can catch me on one of my training sites to talk about verbal markers. But if you're using them, then you're going to use them at the completion of the behavior. Come here, buddy. Here. Around. Yes. Good. And completion of behavior is just as he goes around that target. Here. Around. Yes. Good boy. Because once I say yes, he knows he has to come back to me to get the treat. Now it's obvious this dog has worked on this particular behavior. So once you get it and once you start to distance it, okay, so I'm going to back up, I don't know, this is probably 8 feet. Come here, buddy. Sit. Once you start to distance it, you can start to put in more obedience work and make him think a little bit more. Okay, so I put him on a place board, made him sit. Good boy. Ready? Around. Yes. Place. And then I'm going to pay. So I'm delaying his payment a little bit and asking for a little bit more obedience. Good boy. Ready? Around. Yes. Place. Good. I'm going to do 2 before I pay him. Around. Yes. Sit. Whoop. Good boy. Yes. Good boy. Here comes my payment with a toy. And remember, I got to let him play with it a little bit. I marked the behavior and I even got greedy and I asked for a little bit more. And now I'm going to let him play for a minute. You're so silly. Oh, you're so silly. Good boy. Good boy. Out. Place. Sit. Now, the final thing you can do when your dog really starts to get the hang of some of this is you can even shift the position that you're in and the direction you're sending the dog. So I was previously always sending him from my side. And I think I've only done this once with him, so I'm not sure how it's going to go, but we're going to give it a try. I'm going to use a lot of body language to influence him to go out to that pole, ignoring me, because his desire is going to be to want to come toward me. So he has to ignore me, go out to that pole, go around it, and I'm going to get real greedy, and I'm going to see if I can get him back to the place. Okay? Your dog's not ready for this if you're just getting started, but this is what you can build up to, guys. Ready? Around. Yes, place. Good boy. Yeah. Good job. You're so brilliant. You're so brilliant. So there you have it. It's a silly little trick, but I'm making this guy think. You can see how much energy he has. I'm making him think he's having fun. If I start stretching this out 20 feet, 30 feet, 50 feet, he's getting a lot of exercise in a short amount of time as well. So I want you guys to have fun with this one, okay? So if you need a couple creative ideas of what to use for a target, this is what I was using. This is just a piece of PVC. There's a little, I'm afraid I don't know what it's called. You get it in the plumbing department, but then I just put a nail through it, and that's easy. You can transport this anywhere. Pretty easy to just pop that in the ground. But if you don't want to manufacture something, there's some other really easy ideas. You can just go to the store and get yourself a plunger. This works equally well. Pretty inexpensive tool for a target, okay? And if you don't want that, then get yourself just a traffic cone or the kids' soccer cones or something like that. But there's lots of ideas of what you can use for a target, so you don't have any excuses not to teach this one, guys. Now I have another option for you guys, and honestly, this, in terms of mental enrichment, your dog is going to love it. And in terms of the amount of work you have to put into it, it couldn't be more simple. Unless you don't have shredded cheese at your house. Then you're going to have to go to the grocery store and get some. But what we're going to do is we're going to give our dogs an opportunity to use their sense of smell and fulfill their desire to scavenge or search. You know they love it anyway, right? They love sniffing everything. So I like to use the shredded cheese because it's so tiny, it really falls down into the grass and it makes it a little bit more of a scavenger hunt for her. If you want to do something with just using your dog's kibble and using their breakfast, you certainly can do that. You could use some treats if you want to, but then I suggest you cut them really tiny because we always want to watch the caloric intake, so we're not putting extra weight on our dogs, but could not be easier to provide some mental enrichment, okay? So I have my dog in a down because I like to use a little bit of obedience for this. She's got to wait, and I'm just going to take this cheese and just sprinkle it around here on the lawn. But now let's give her permission and let her go. Ready? You can break. Find it. And that's it. She gets to have fun. I can sit down and have a lemonade or morning coffee if we're doing this with her breakfast. And that's going to keep her busy a while, I think. Okay, there's a lot of little pieces of cheese there that she's snooting around for. You can hear, I don't know if you can hear, but I can hear my dog's just nose working furiously. Sniff, 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 sniff for this stuff. And that's mental activity, guys, and physical. Okay, it's not aerobic activity. She's not burning a lot of calories, obviously, but mentally she has something to do. You know, and I think we don't think about this because we just put our dog's food in a bowl and we let them just eat, you know, and make it so simple. But why not make it an activity? Because the reality is most of our dogs spend a lot of their day just laying around. They're bored. And boredom is the problem with, you know, that's the root problem of most behavior problems. They're just flat out bored. And we're not giving them enough to do. So in closing, I just want to point out a couple things. If you don't have yard space or you have inclement weather, another way to do this is obviously to purchase some puzzle toys. There are loads of them online, so just do a search for puzzle toys. Here's a couple options, but that will do the trick, same as sprinkling something in the lawn. And then one note of caution, if you have multiple dogs, guys, one dog at a time, okay? I don't want any resource guarding to go on when you're doing these things, so one dog at a time. So there you have it, a couple cool ideas that you can have fun entertaining your dog. There's an infinite variety of things to do, but there you have two for today, so have fun, okay?